A reading from the first book of Kings. The Lord appeared to Solomon in a dream and said, "Ask what you would like me to give you." Solomon replied, "O Lord, my God, you have made your servant king in succession to David my father. But I am a very young man, unskilled in leadership. Your servant finds himself in the midst of this people of yours that you have chosen, a people so many its number cannot be counted or reckoned. Give your servant a heart to understand how to discern between good and evil. For who could govern this people of yours that is so great?" It pleased the Lord that Solomon should have asked for this. "Since you have asked for this," the Lord said, "and not asked for long life for yourself, or riches, or the lives of your enemies, but have asked for a discerning judgment for yourself. Here and now I do what you ask. I give you a heart wise and shrewd, as none before you has had, and none will have after you." The word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
Responsorial Psalm. Your response is, "Lord, how I love your law." My part I have resolved, O Lord, is to obey your word. The law from your mouth means more to me than silver and gold. Lord, how I love your law. Let your love be ready to console me by your promise to your servant. Yet your love come, and I shall live, for your law is my delight. Lord, how I love your law. That is why I love your commands more than finest gold, why I rule my life by your precepts and hate false ways. Lord, how I love your law. Your will is wonderful indeed, therefore I obey it. The unfolding of your word gives light and teaches the simple. Lord, how I love your law.
A reading from the letter of St. Paul to the Romans. We know that by turning everything to their good, God cooperates with all those who love him, with all those that he has called according to his purpose. They are the ones he chose specially long ago and intended to become true images of his Son, so that his Son might be the eldest of many brothers. He called those he intended for this. Those he called, he justified, and with those he justified, he shared his glory. The word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God. The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus said to the crowds, "The kingdom of heaven is like a treasure hidden in a field which someone has found. He hides it again, goes off happy, sells everything he owns, and buys the field. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant looking for fine pearls. When he finds one of great value, he goes and sells everything he owns and buys it." The Gospel of the Lord. I've been clearing out various elements of the desk, trying to tidy the top, the drawers, filing cabinet, whatever, to get my office a little more ordered. How much fun can you have? I found somewhere among all the paperwork an old lottery ticket. It must be old, as I don't remember the last time I bought a lottery ticket. It is, of course, later when I log onto the lottery website and I find that it's the missing ticket for the multi-million-pound rollover that I will break into a sweat that I'd left it lying around, lock it into a safe, count the sleepless minutes until I get to declare it and I can claim the prize. Of course, I don't want it for myself. I'll be spending it on parish churches or whatever. But there is that sense in the gospel parable. The man who finds the treasure in his field, at least not in his field, in the field, I should say, and is beside himself with excitement. He cannot sell everything fast enough in order to own the field and to thus gain the treasure. While we celebrate with the one who gains so much, have a thought for the one who owned the field in the first place. He has no idea that the treasure has been there all along, just laying carelessly, as it were. He is so close, and yet he's let it slip through his fingers. Father Cantalamessa, the papal preacher, reflecting on this parable, says, not surprisingly, the parable is about Christ. Specifically, it's about himself and his coming on earth. Cantalamessa says, the hidden treasure, the precious pearl, are nothing other than Jesus himself. It is as if, with these words, Jesus wished to say, salvation has come to you freely by God's initiative. Make a decision. Take advantage of the opportunity. Do not let it escape from you. It is time to decide. We're invited to recognize this morning that we are the recipients of such a treasure. The Lord is present in his word, in his Eucharist, in our lives. If we truly recognize that gift, we will not be able to wait until anything that stands in our way has been put to one side and that there is nothing between us and that gift of Christ. The parable does not say, a man sold everything he had and started a search. We know all too often how those accounts end. That is the sort of speculative approach. No, the account says that the man found the treasure, and because of this, he then puts all his effort into owning it, into realizing it. But to have found it, he must have been looking. How is it that the man who owned the field hadn't noticed? It takes time and commitment to perhaps truly understand what is there in front of us. Many perhaps do not realize how close they are to that treasure of Christ's presence, of finding the gift of the kingdom. Perhaps part of the generosity of God that he allows himself to be found rather than imposing his presence upon us. If you've ever been given a great gift by someone, you'll know that there can be that sense of almost the burden of gratitude, constantly wanting to show, feeling the need to keep talking about, feeling perhaps slightly awkward in their presence. We have the great privilege of being allowed to find God for ourselves. He is the source of every good gift, including our free will. We won't feel required to give up everything for him. It will be a joy and excitement in our life. That joy and excitement which the psalmist expressed so clearly in the words we've just heard. The treasure, the presence of God, the pearl of great value, the kingdom are tantalizingly close. We pray that we will not be the one to allow that treasure to slip through our fingers, but rather in finding it, it will bring true joy to us, and in showing and revealing it to others, we can share that joy with them.